Hello you guys, so today we're going to be talking about punctuation. It's going to be our first lesson. I will be going over 4 punctuation marks. I think that these are very commonly used in writing, so let's get started. I hope you guys like it, and let me just get a hold of my marker so we can get started. Okay, so I'm going to write down lesson number 1. Lesson number 1, which is our title, punctuation, right? Punctuation. So yeah, we're gonna have punctuation here, and let's start off with number 1. What do we have in number 1? A period. And the second one will be a question mark. Can anybody guess number 3? An exclamation mark, yes. And last but not least, quotation marks. So now we have to define them. Let's define these 4 punctuation marks. A period is at the end of a complete sentence or sentences. It could be a sentence or sentences, a compound sentence. Okay, so let me just make sure that the question mark is correctly made. That's the word. Okay, so we have the question mark there. How do we define a question mark? So a question mark is used at the end of an interrogatory sentence. We often start question mark. We often start interrogatory sentences with any of the 5 W's. The 5 W's are who, what, where, when, and why. Okay, those are our 5 W's. Everybody knows them. They're so famous. Any of these 5, and you know that the sentence will be an interrogatory sentence, and it's gonna end with a question mark. So next we have the exclamation mark. How do we define the exclamation mark? The exclamation mark, exclamation mark is used to show strong emotion, desperation. The end of an explanatory sentence, right? Let me just tell you something real quick about an exclamation mark. Sometimes people like to write, like in the phrase, come on, right? But you have to say it with strong emotion. Some people like to write, more than one, and sometimes, depending on the writer, they used more than one, but the correct way or the formal way is using only one. If you do this in a scholarly paper to your teacher, they're probably gonna deduct points because they don't like to see this. This shows that you're not paying attention. They want to see, come on, right? Come on. They know that it's with excitement, but you only have to use one. You don't have to use 3, 4, 5, whatever you want. They use before, or whatever people are using right nowadays in social media. So let's go off to the next definition. Quotation marks. Quotation marks are used and encapsulate from a specific character person or entity. Okay guys, so there you have it. Let's just review our definitions right away, and we're gonna move on to our next step. Our next step is gonna contain 4 examples of each one, and we're gonna go ahead and fill them out. Okay, so let's do that. Number 1 is saying that a period is at the end of a complete sentence. Yes, or sentences, correct. So that's our definition for period. Our next step, next number is the question mark, and we defined it as a question mark is used at the end of an interrogatory sentence. Yes, a question mark is always used at the end of an interrogatory sentence. And we also said that they often start with any of the 5 W's. So let's go on to the next one, the third one. We have exclamation mark. The exclamation mark is used to show strong emotion or exasperation at the end of an exclamatory sentence. Yes, like the example I just gave of come on, right? So next to that, or following that, is the quotation marks. Quotation marks are used to encapsulate, let me write the E because it has an E, dialogue. Encapsulate dialogue from a specific character, person, or entity. An entity could be either a group of writers, like the journalists who write for the History Channel, that respond to other websites, people, to different social media platforms, right? So this is what the entity form is for, when the dialogue comes from a specific entity. Okay, so we're gonna get into detail later on in another video about that, But for right now, I just want to keep it as simple as possible. Let's move on to the examples. So I'm going to erase everything. You guys can replay the video nowadays, so you guys have all this in the earlier portion of the video, so it won't matter. Let's go on to the next let's go on to the next step. So we have number 1, number 2, number 3, and 4. I'm gonna put 4 sentences, and we're gonna have to fill out with what the punctuations we just covered on the previous step, and we're gonna try to fill out as quick as possible. Okay, so let's just give me a second to write down whatever comes to my mind, and we'll go ahead and fill out. So okay, there you go, guys. So based on what we just covered in the previous step, which was the period, the question mark, the exclamation mark, and the quotation marks, we're gonna have to right away fill out the 4 examples that we have here. So number 1 is saying bring it. Is it saying just bring it or bring it? So this is with excitement, so we know that an exasperation or exclamatory sentence, we use an exclamatory an exclamation mark, I'm sorry, an exclamation mark. So there we have it. Now our next step, on the list, or the second example that we have here, says she said yes sir. So who said yes sir? She, the pronoun she, right? So what is this type of sentence or phrase? It's introducing a quote, right? So what do we do with quotes? We encapsulate them, right? We open the quote and then we close the quote. The quotation, the last quotation is always after the period, not before the period. Because if you do, guys, you're gonna see that the teacher's gonna take off points, or it's gonna look a little bit off in your paper. So there you go, guys. We did the second one. What about the third one? I love your dog. What is this type of sentence? It's just saying something, right? It's a declaratory sentence. It's just declaring something. It's just saying something. So what do we do with declaratory sentences? We know that we have a subject, a predicate. It's a complete sentence, so we can use a period right there. And We are done with number 3. Let's go on the list down to number 4. So we know that number 4 is saying, why is she there? So we also know that why is one of the five W's, and we know that when we start with a why, this is our subject, and we end off with a question mark, right? So basically we are done. This is an interrogatory sentence, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much. I hope you guys like this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and share my video. Thank you.